So good evening. You can tell it's quite dark. Normally it's like, what, 6 in the morning when I'm doing my videos, and it's obviously a little bit dark then. But it's not that time, it's actually 6 o'clock in the evening because I've just finished work. My brother didn't want to go out with me today for a walk because essentially I've got a bit of a cold. I feel absolutely fine, but he's going out with friends at the weekend. So I thought, well, why don't I still go out and why don't I do a fragrance video? And as it's the night time, I thought I would do 5 nighttime fragrances that you may want to consider buying. Some that I want to consider buying as well, because I want to do some brands here that I haven't really ever spoken about before, because otherwise I can just keep repeating myself with certain scents. I've obviously got some in my collection I like to wear at night time, but I thought I'd share sort of 5 today, 5 different brands that they've kind of got the word night in them, or something dark, something black, or just the note profile represents those sort of nighttime wear fragrance. So yeah, won't leave you waiting any longer. We'll get on to the first one. So the first fragrance is one that I certainly haven't owned before, but it's the first one that came to my mind when I was thinking about nighttime, because this brand Montal, they are known for really strong fragrances. My brother's had a few, chocolate greedy chocolate, sweet oriental dream I believe it's called. It is absolutely nuclear. It's like a honey fragrance. You can smell it from literally, someone could be down the road like 20 meters away and you can smell it. And they've got plenty out there that have been popular. They've got some Intense Cafe, which is like this nice coffee rose combination. But the one I wanted to talk about today is Starry Nights. It's a unisex fragrance, and I just like the name, Starry Nights. It's just, it's nothing too clever, but it sounds amazing. And in terms of the notes in this, the opening's quite fresh and fruity, so you've got a bit of apple in there, you've got bergamot, you've got lemon, so a nice bit of citrus. Then if you look at the middle of the fragrance, the heart of the fragrance, you've got a little bit of rose in there. It's a bit more of a floral component, a patchouli, which I think will add that little bit of earthy depth, which I absolutely love in fragrances. Patchouli is really growing on me as a note. And then in the base you've got things like amber and musk, which gives a bit of a clean vibe, but again a little bit more that depth. Again, amber, if you don't know what amber is, it's essentially a chord. It's a combination of multiple notes to make a certain smell, which is a little bit more sweet, a little bit more vanillic, a little bit more suited to nighttime wear. So yeah, it's a unisex scent, and apparently it's just meant to represent those sort of summer evenings. Again, like the end of the summer holiday, sit with your friends, look at the sky, stars are out. I just think that sounds great. It's an interesting one though. I thought it would be a little bit more smoky, maybe add a bit more depth, but obviously the opening is very fresh. So yeah, not what I'd expect in that type of fragrance. People do say it's strong though, again in line with a lot of the Montal fragrances, but it's definitely one I want to try. And again, if anyone has tried that one, let me know. And yeah, certainly one to keep an eye out as well. Prices for Montals do fluctuate quite a lot. Sometimes they could be £40–50, and then they could go up to sort of £80–90. So yeah, definitely one to check out, and one I really want to get at some point in my collection. Okay then, the next one, well, I was going to do John Varvatos originally, because they used to have a couple of fragrances that got a lot of hype in the fragrance community. It was Dark Rebel, and then I believe it must have been a flank of it called Dark Rebel Rider. But it looks like they've been discontinued now, and he has got a couple out called John Varvatos XX or XX. Again, it sounds like the phrase that's more for your alpha male, but I found one that I think is even more alpha male, macho man type scent. And it's called Kenneth Cole Black Bold. Now, looking at the notes in this one, you've got things like nutmeg, which you do see in fragrances. It can be quite divisive, that note, but it's also got incense, it's got suede, so it's got that nice leather component. I'm picturing a little bit like John Varvatos back in the day with Dark Rebel, maybe someone who's a bit of a biker, leather jacket, again alpha male type scent, someone who just wants to be a real dominating force here. But there are also some sort of fresh components in this as well. You've got things like mint, so it's not overly heavy, and there is some woodiness to cedar, which I think will tone down some of those sort of heavier bits that are in this fragrance as well. But an interesting one, again, you can get this one for sort of high £30 to £39, and just worth a try if you're someone who wants maybe more of a masculine type scent. Again, I say a lot of scents these days have certainly become a lot sweeter and a lot more unisex. I think this one's a man's man type scent, and it's certainly one to check out. Let's be honest, who's wearing a Kenneth Cole fragrance? Who is Kenneth Cole? I don't know. I live under a rock. He might be a celebrity, but either way, I like the sound of the fragrance. Look how dark it's getting. It is getting very dark, and apologies for my zips rattling a lot. Can't seem to get it right with my hood at the minute, but we are going on to a unisex fragrance again. We're going to Mancera. Mancera, my brother's had a couple of their fragrances. They're really nice, high quality, around £80 I tend to find for 100ml. You get some that are more expensive, some that are a bit cheaper, but this one's around the £80 mark. It's called Black Vanilla. Now, what appealed to me with this scent, it's opening, to be honest with you. The blackcurrant, there's a lot of these fragrances that look at night time that use blackcurrant in the top, and maybe that's because it's quite a dark fruit, it's a little bit sour, a bit sharper, but it also has white peach in this and coconut, which you sort of think are quite light, quite powdery. So yeah, very interesting opening. Then when you get into the heart of this fragrance, it's more things like Bulgarian rose, Egyptian jasmine, quite dark florals I'm guessing from this, quite high quality florals as well. And then obviously the name Black Vanilla, the base of it here, you've just got vanilla and you've got Madagascar vanilla. I always think Madagascar vanilla is a slightly more darker, slightly more caramelized vanilla, and it just sounds very, very more. It's very easy to pull off, and one that men and women can wear. If you want to wear it for a statement, maybe a night out, it feels great. It feels like a high quality scent rather than like a cozy vanilla that you might sit with at home. I think it's more of a statement, go out, make an impression type scent, and I think it's one definitely to consider. I do like Mancera fragrances. I like the bottles of them. Again, they're uniform bottles. I think they do a very popular one called Cedrat Boisé, which is like a fruity summer type scent. But yeah, I think this one's also very popular. It's one in their line that's been around for a little bit of time now, and I think vanilla just being such a popular note, this one's maybe a little bit easier to pull off than the first two I've done so far. So we are now going to go on to the fourth one. I honestly, you can't even see my face at the minute. You might see some reflection off the glasses, but yeah, I'm enjoying this walk and I'm enjoying these categories. Along the seafront, you can hear the waves. I love going by the seafront at night time, it's the best bit. But the fourth one then, so what is the fourth fragrance? Well, this is one I planned to buy years ago, and I'll be honest with you, this was when I was getting into fragrances. I just forgot about it, and it's just basically just by chance it cropped into my head. Oh, apologies if I butcher the pronunciation of this name, but it's by Swiss Arabian and it's Shagaf Oud. Now, this one really appealed to me, and I remember the main reason it did. One of the things I really enjoy in food is praline or praline, if you want to pronounce it that way, like a nice nutty note, and it's also got vanilla in it, so that's in the base. But obviously, as the name suggests, oud can be quite a divisive fragrance note. Again, this one's had a bit of hype in the community. I believe it's around sort of 30 to 40 pounds. I do like the bottle. It's this nice gold bottle. It just has this kind of feeling of that prestigious oriental type scent, and it's got saffron in the opening as well. So if you're someone that does like a bit of spice here, this is great, and a bit of oud as well. A little bit more divisive, bold, but sometimes bold is what people want, and I think this one will certainly make you stand out in a crowd. You know, we spoke about Black Vanilla a minute ago being probably a little bit more wearable for most people on a unisex front. This is a unisex fragrance where I think some people who want to be a little bit more out there, a bit more divisive, can go and do that. And again, Swiss Arabian, not a brand I think I've ever spoken about before. Definitely one I want to try out. I thought it was interesting how it's good in the opening, but also a little bit later on in the middle of the fragrance as well. So it's definitely going to be very prominent in this one. We're going to go on to one more then, the final fragrance, and one again I definitely want to try at some point this year. Okay then, and the final one is by Pepe Jeans. Now Pepe Jeans has probably mainly got its reputation from their fragrance line called Cocktail, where they always have, like, you know, those cocktail shakers that you get. I should know the name of them really, but someone who's so healthy and ultra runner like myself doesn't drink cocktails. But they are really, really nice bottles. The men's ones like that, the women's ones like in a little cocktail glass. They're more fruity, sort of a bit more juvenile type scents. Cocktail, the original one, it's got ginger in it in particular, which it's got this nice summer holiday type vibe to it, fresh citrus. That's what people say about it. But the one I wanted to talk about is called London Calling. Now again, there are some fresh notes in this, but what really appeals to me is you've got plum in the opening. Plum is not used in fragrances very often, and chutney is another note in the opening of this fragrance. Really, really interesting. I've never seen chutney in a fragrance, certainly not a top note and prominent in a fragrance alongside plum. But then when we go into the base, it's got those sort of notes again that represent nighttime. So you've got nutmeg, you've got patchouli, and you've got vanilla as well, and it just sounds like a really, really nice scent. It's one of those scents that, again, I probably would never even consider before, but the extravagance of the bottles here really appealed to me. So yeah, Pepe Jeans, they're not the most expensive fragrances in the world. I don't think they're the highest quality and the best performance, but sometimes that's what you want. You don't always want these really strong nighttime scents, and I've mentioned a few tonight that are particularly strong, and I think this one's a little bit more tame and probably a little bit more wearable for most people. It looks like you can use this one in the day and night. It's got fruity sweetness about it as well. and I expect it's probably, despite this quite unique breakdown in terms of unique notes, I reckon it doesn't smell too daring. So if you're someone who just wants maybe something a little bit different from the crowd, certainly a bottle that you can keep in your collection once you've used it as well, I think London Calling is great. It sounds like a great scent, and I do like the novelty aspect from Pepe Jeans here with this fragrance. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this one today. Apologies, as I said, you can barely see me now, but it has been a very fun walk. It's been nice to talk about some different fragrances from different brands, because sometimes I forget, as I said, I tend to kind of, that I absolutely love my Lush fragrances, as you know. Sometimes it's nice to try something a bit different. Sometimes I think you do need to take that risk, and yeah, a lot of these you kind of have to buy online. You can't just go into a shop and try them. But look, we've always had to try, whatever fragrances you like, you've tried them for the first time at some point, and I think these are certainly ones that we should try, or I will definitely try and give them a review over the next sort of year or two. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one today, and I'll catch you later.